Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here with another Master Duel video for you guys. Today in this one we're going to be looking at yet another relatively new deck, although most of the deck has been around for quite some time. There is one powerful new addition that is completely changing the scope of how the deck plays and its position in the competitive format, and that is going to be Live Twin. Yeah, this deck we covered a little bit last season, although you could definitely see the deck was incomplete at that time, as without Trouble Sunny, the deck honestly was really only able to end on the two evil twins here, Lil-La and Ki-Sikil. Somebody told me how to pronounce this and I forgot. I always say Ki-Sikil, because I don't know, but it's I'm just gonna end up butchering it. I'm sorry about that. But in any case, yeah, so usually we're just ending on the two evil twins here before Trouble Sunny came out, but now that Trouble Sunny is out, you can actually link into Trouble Sunny, which is a huge upgrade for the deck. Massive boost in power, as not only is Trouble Sunny a 3300 attack monster in their own right, but as a quick effect, you can sack the Trouble Sunny and then bring back your two evil twins, the link monsters. That is going to allow you to use their effects during your opponent's turn to draw a card and destroy a card. And the cool thing is, because both optional effects are always coming down at the same time this way, you can chain block however you want. So if you'd rather draw a card, you can chain block with the destroy effect, or vice versa, depending on which one you need to get out. Trouble Sunny also has another very nice effect where after they're in the graveyard, you can banish them from the graveyard and then send an evil twin from your hand, deck, or face up on the field to the graveyard to send any card on the field to the graveyard. And that is a send, not a destroy, does not target, and is a really good way to get rid of floodgates or pesky monsters that are preventing you from making plays, or just being a general nuisance that your other link twins aren't able to take care of there. So evil twin, or sorry, live twin, either way really, right? This deck also has a very nice benefit similar to something like Prank Kid, something like, kind of to a lesser extent, Adventure Tenny, but it requires very minimal amount of cards in order to make plays. Really only one card, usually just one of these two live twins, Ki-Sikil or Lil-La. Again, I know this is a Ki-Sikil, I think it's Ki-Sikil, and then Lil-La. Yeah, by having just any one of these two, you're able to get your play started and eventually go into a Trouble Sunny that will be bringing both of your link twins back here. There are also plenty of other plays that you can make now that the deck has Trouble Sunny. In particular, another card that becomes much more useful is Live Twin Home. This card was already out in the past, but its applications were a little bit limited. But now that we have Trouble Sunny, this can make a good backup play if your twins, or your live twins, the main deck ones, get like negated or something. Of course, the Frost and Treats can do serve a similar role. Actually, one thing that I meant to add, kind of funny story here. So another reason that Live Twin Home is so good is because this actually allows you to do some scythe plays, right? Some artifact scythe plays. And I actually kind of intended to show those off in these duels coming up here. And so I put the scythe in my main deck. But then when I went to actually go do the scythe combo the first time I could do it, which was actually pretty late on into my test runs, yeah, then I realized I forgot to put Dagda in my extra deck, so I couldn't actually do the combo, but that's okay. We can always revisit the deck later. I wanted to anyway, and when we revisit it later, I'll show off the variant where you can pull off scythe locks on top of your live twin plays. So, and you do need access to the Live Twin Home in order to do that, but so yeah, I don't think there's any games where I actually draw the scythe, but if you randomly see the artifact scythe in my hand at some point, just know that that was when I accidentally put it but not Dagda into my extra deck, or rather I put Scythe into my main deck but not Dagda in my extra deck. But so I did just swap out to like this more, I guess, quote-unquote pure build, where I just took out the Scythe for a second ghost spell here. So but yeah, one of the cool things about this deck is that, like Prank Kids and stuff, because we require only a minimal amount of cards to actually combo, we can play a lot of disruption hand traps. You can see we've got like the 2 Veilor, the 2 Ghost Spell. Could maybe be playing a second Nibiru instead of the second Ghost Spell, but Ghost Spell is actually really good because this can actually be used to negate the Water Enchantress. So yeah, being able to do that is very nice. Additionally, And it's on top of being able to have like just one card plays off the live twins. We have a lot of ways to search them with the, well, Sunny Snitch searches the monsters, and then the secret password can grab the Sunny Snitch. Secret password can also be useful for getting either the live twin home or the evil twin challenge. I haven't really used this card yet, but it's just a nice backup option. If both of your twins are in the graveyard, you can bring one back and then bring the other back and then go into a link play. So nice way to do that there. I feel like the rest of the build is fairly straightforward. If you are familiar with, or rather if you're not familiar with how the quote-unquote one-card combo works, that's alright, because I've got some games coming up here, and in the first one we're going to take a look at, I'll show you how to, a very simple way to go from either one of your live twins into a Trouble Sunny setup into your 2 link twins. It's pretty self-explanatory, but in any case here, I'm going to go ahead and run through the list card by card, as I always do, before we go ahead and take a look at some gameplay. So, we have here 2 Effect Failure, 3 Maxx, 3 Live Twin Ki-Sikil, 3 Live Twin Lil-La, 1 Live Twin Lil-La Treat, 2 Live Twin Ki-Sikil Frost, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 Ghost Belle and Haunted Mansion, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Harpie's Feather Duster, 3 Secret Password, 3 Live Twin Sunny Snitch, 2 Call by the Grave, 3 Crossout Designator, 3 Forbidden Droplet, 2 Live Twin Home, 2 Infinite Impermanence, and 1 Evil Twin Challenge. Down here in the extra deck, we've got 1 Sky Cavalry Centaurea, 1 Downerd Magician, 1 Divine Arsenal AA-ZEUS Sky Thunder, 3 Evil Twin Ki-Sikil, 3 Evil Twin Lil-La, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Unchained Abomination, 3 Evil Twins Trouble Sunny, and then finally 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Oh yeah, there was one other thing I wanted to mention about the main deck. I knew I was forgetting something, and I remember when I was going through the list here, the Droplet. So Droplet, as usual, because of the advent of adventure, we are now playing 3 Droplet in just about anything we can jam it into, but 3 Droplet was already really good in Live Twin. Droplet has a unique interaction with Live Twin in that if you've got both of your Link twins out, you can use Droplet to send one of them, and then negate an opponent's monster effect, and then after that you can use the quick effects to bring it back and then get that trigger effect as well, potentially. That was a lot more important before we had Trouble Sunny, as that was the main way to utilize the Evil Twins effects during your opponent's turn. Now that we have Trouble Sunny, it's really easy to just proc those, but it is still an interaction that is absolutely worth keeping in mind for that reason. So, or just in case like you either don't go into Trouble Sunny for some reason, or maybe it's your turn and you can use the Droplet to send like the Ki-Sikil and then negate an opponent's effect that's like floodgating you out, and then you can bring back the Ki-Sikil and draw a card, or Lil-La, you can do it with that and pop a card. So just again, just an interaction to keep in mind there, and an important reason to have 3 Droplet. Again, this deck would play 3 Droplet pretty much no matter what, but it's still especially good this format as well, on top of that. So, alright, now I think I've gone over everything I want to with the actual build. Let's go ahead and take a look at some games. Alright, this game is going to be against Pendulum Magicians, but this is mostly just going to be a game to demonstrate what a typical turn 1 setup into Trouble Sunny looks like, and then what you can do with Trouble Sunny from there. So we take a look at this hand here. I actually think I could have done a little bit more with this hand, because I did open both the Lil-La Treat and the Ki-Sikil Frost as well, so I think I could have made some more extensive link plays, but I decided to just keep it simple because this was one of the first games I played, and I really just wanted to show off like a basic turn 1 play. Our opponent Artifact Lancia us right at the beginning, but this is actually one of the like few decks right now that Lancia does absolutely nothing against, so we are totally cool with that. So I'll normal summon the Ki-Sikil and use that to special the Lil-La from the deck. If you draw Lil-La, that's actually a little bit better to open, because then you can get the Ki-Sikil Frost, which is a little bit better to have engraved because of its effect. But in any case, we'll just grab the other twin from the deck. We'll then link those into Evil Twin Ki-Sikil, which you do want to go into first because our opponent doesn't have cards to destroy. We're going to want to draw a card with it this turn. So we'll go into this one first. Ki-Sikil, when it's summoned, can bring back a Lil-La monster, or rather during the main phase, because we don't control a Lil-La monster, we can bring one back from the graveyard. So we'll bring back the Live Twin Lil-La that we pulled from the deck, and now we're going to link those into Evil Twin Lil-La, the Link monster. Now we can use Lil-La's effect to bring back the Link Ki-Sikil, and because this was brought back, now we get to draw an extra card, which is yet another combo piece we're not going to end up needing. Now we can link those two into Trouble Sunny. So, like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory. But this is how you climb up into Trouble Sunny. And now, again, because of Trouble Sunny's quick effect during our opponent's turn, well, one, they already pose a threat as a 3300 attack monster, but two, during the opponent's turn, we can use this quick effect to bring both these back to draw a card and destroy a card. And it might not seem like that big of a deal, right? Like, all you're doing is drawing a card and destroying a card, but even a very minor amount of disruption and a little bit of advantage goes a long way. We think back to Tri-Brigade, right? Like, when you flip up a Revolt, really, it's like one banish and one search, you know, on average, which is not, doesn't sound super great on paper, but we know well enough in practice that that can be far more than enough to put enough distance between you and your opponent advantage-wise that it's very hard for them to come back. And not just advantage-wise, but also the sheer disruption of being able to destroy or remove the card at a critical moment that'll prevent them from comboing out makes it all the more powerful. So we'll throw down this droplet, and of course we've also got a Maxx in hand here as well. Before passing over to the opponent, they're going to lead by placing the Scale 8 Celestial Magician here. I'm not going to, you know, Trouble Sunny just yet. I want to wait and see what they add off of this Duelist Alliance. And then now that I know that they have a Pendulum Sorcerer in hand, I know that they're going to be planning on trying to special summon this, which will let them get to any number of plays here. So what my plan is, well, one, they have a scale set here, and typically against Pendulums, I like to throw out the Maxx as soon as they have their scale set, because at any point from then forward, they could Pendulum Summon. Even if they don't Pendulum Summon right away, they're still going to be doing some amount of special summoning. But here, given that they added the Pendulum Sorcerer, I'm very confident that my opponent is going to try to Pendulum Summon right now. So as soon as the scale is set, I'm activating Maxx. However, that's not the only thing I'm going to do here. I'm also actually going to use the Trouble Sunny now, and it might seem a little weird to use Maxx and Trouble Sunny at the same time, both in response to the Pendulum Scale and to stop the Pendulum Scale. But I don't know if my opponent might have like a call by for the Trouble Sunny. Maybe they'll have like another Pendulum monster set in the hand other than the Pendulum Sorcerer, and they'll get to Pendulum Summon anyway. I just want to make sure that all my bases are covered here. So even though, yes, my primary plan is to use the Trouble Sunny to get back my Evil Twins to pop the, I'll pop the Oath Dragon Magician here, then even though that's the case, I still want to throw out the Maxx again, just in case that doesn't go through. Just making sure all our bases are covered, but we are going to use the Trouble Sunny here as well. So again, that's going to allow us to bring back both the, well, then the opponent concedes. I thought they conceded a little bit sooner, but yeah, so they just conceded after that because the opponent knew what was coming, right? We're bringing back both our Link Evil Twins, and then with their effects, we're popping again the Oath Dragon and then drawing a card. So now the opponent has to have another Pendulum monster in their hand if they still want to special summon that Sorcerer and go for more plays, but it seemed pretty apparent that they didn't, or maybe they could have had another one, but it just wasn't the right scale. So in any case, that was enough to secure the game there. So again, that's just a very basic combo line. And again, it might not seem like much, like, oh, all you're doing is going to this Link 4, that's going to get your Link 2s back. But you can see that how that, in combination with just one hand trap, the Maxx, and again, the Maxx wasn't even necessarily what stopped the opponent there, but blowing up the Pendulum Scales. I mean, who knows what else was in the opponent's hand? It could have been both, it could have been either or, but in any case, I feel that demonstrates adequately just how much Trouble Sunny adds to the deck, even just by itself. So now we're going to take a look at some more games that are a bit more like back and forth and see how the deck plays out there. Alright, so this next duel is going to be against Adventure Prank Kids, which we actually just covered in the last video, funnily enough. But here we'll get to see just how we're able to take on some meta decks running the good old adventure package. And we are going second, but we do open both C and Nibiru. That's very nice here. It's just nice in general to be able to play against so many hand traps and so much disruption because we need so few cards in order to actually make our plays. So I'll throw out the Maxx as soon as the dropsies come out. Opponent's just going to set 2 and pass. That's totally fine with me. We even draw another Maxx, which I'm not even mad about, honestly. That is completely fine with me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use Sunny Snitch. I'm going to add a Lil-La Treat, and that might look like a little bit of a weird add, but I kind of don't want to add a Ki-Sikil here, or Ki-Sikil, however you pronounce it, like the regular Live Twin Ki-Sikil, because I would be using it for next turn, and I feel like that's maybe telegraphing my plays a little bit too much here, but I've already got the Frost. If I didn't have the Frost in hand, I would have just added it here, because then if this gets negated, I can special this, but now if this gets negated, I can special this, and then potentially this as well, so that's just kind of why I added the treat there. It didn't particularly matter, but opponent is going to have the Infinite Impermanence, so that is something you do have to be prepared for, is your live twins being disrupted. They are definitely one of the easiest choke points of the deck, but having the frost in hand like this is definitely not too bad in regards to countering that. The opponent does flip with the Pandemonium. I'm going to chain Maxx here, and I'm thinking there's no way they just have Lampsies and Fansies in hand, right? Well, they totally do. So they actually do just get to go for Butler. The opponent somehow being lucky enough to open all 3 Prank Kids needed to go into Battle Butler, as well as the Pandemonium. So at the very least, they don't have the Meow Meow Moo, so they do have to tribute the Butler in order to wipe our board here. But all the same, that is going to stop us right there in our tracks. We do at the very least have the Veiler as well as the Nibiru here. But with only the Lil-La treat in hand, we're going to have to top deck one of the other live twins, or a Secret Password, or a Sunny Snitch. And we do get the one of the live twins there. That might seem really lucky, but when you think about how many cards in our deck are actually live outs here, it's really not that uncommon for us to top deck something. So here I'll give my opponent 1 draw off Maxx, but I definitely don't want to reload their hand because I don't think I'm able to actually OTK them this turn just based off what I have in hand. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass after only giving them 1 draw. Now they do have the Water Enchantress here, so this is going to be a little bit dicey as they're going to get the Adventure Engine online. But as long as they don't have a Prank Kid on top of that, I think we should be good here. And sure enough, it doesn't seem like they have another monster, as they didn't, summon anything before adding... Oh, that's right. Yeah, they use the Faithful Adventure to add... They do this in a weird order here. They use the Faithful Adventure first to add the Griffin, but then they just end up having to discard it because they do have a Prank Kid they want to use. They should have just summoned the Prank Kid, added the Draco back, and then specialed, and then searched, discarding the Draco back, specialing. That's how they would have gotten the Omni Negate there. I thought maybe they do end up getting the Griffin. I thought they got the Griffin out, but that could also just be another duel I'm thinking of. Who even knows? Alright, so they're going to chain block the Dropsies. Not that we had the Ash for it anyway, which I would have loved to have had the Ash for it, but it seems like we're going to be relying on Nibiru here in order to stop the opponent's plays. I do at the very least know that the 1 card in their hand is Dracoback, so that being the case, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Veiler the Doodle Doodle Doo here, and then whenever they summon their next Prank Kid, I'm just going to go ahead and Nibiru, because I know at that point they will be able to equip the Dracoback to the token and bounce my Nibiru. That is going to be a little bit unfortunate, but that's going to be the case pretty much no matter when I activate the Nibiru anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. And yet, predictably, here comes the Draco back, equipped to the token to bounce back the Nibiru. So that is a bit of a shame, because if the Nibiru was on the board, I could have just summoned the Lil-La treat and then gone into a play. But we do draw the Live Twin home, which is actually yet another out of ours. And with that, we were able to discard the Nibiru, and the opponent recognizes that we immediately have plays and surrenders, as they don't seem to have much else left to follow up with. So that is just a nice example of how, even though this deck is kind of a combo deck, it's kind of like, it's another way it's like Tri-Brigade. It is in that it is combo control, where we're doing combos to lead to disruption on the opponent's turn. So it's kind of cool how you can pivot back and forth between the 2 different play styles pretty freely. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next game here. This game is going to be a mirror match, actually, and is going to be one of the longer games I've had recently, actually, ever since the new pack came out. And I guess in terms of number of turns, I should say. So we're going to go first here, and we open a fairly solid hand here. I've got the Secret Password in addition to lots of Disruption, Imperm, Droplet, Ash, and Maxx. So I'll Password for the Snitch for the Lil-La here. Opponent is going to have a Veiler. Since I don't have the Crossout or the Call By, I can't stop that here. So alas, we do have to just end our plays there by setting the Droplet and the Imperm. But again, with all the disruption we have, I'm not really super concerned about what the opponent's going to do. They then reveal their Secret Password, and we are not going to Ash just yet. I'm going to wait for them to Password and then a Sunny Snitch, and then add the twin they're going to add, and then play that twin, and that's where I'll Ash. Because, you know, it's really easy for them to bait with Secret Password and or Sunny Snitch and already have the twin in hand. Obviously, being a live twin player, I'm very well of that, as I've often done the same. So we'll Ash the Ki-Sikil, and they don't have a backup play. They're just going to set 2 and then pass back to me here. So at this point, I do have to consider that I only have the Lil-La out, and I ultimately decide, you know what? I actually do have a play if I normal summon this Maxx, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to summon the Maxx and go into my Sky Cavalry Centaurea here. And since I have battle with an Xyz monster, we all know what that means, right? That's right, we get to bring out everybody's favorite big mech after going through to Downerd Magician first, of course, for the extra material, so that we can have a 4 material Zeus. Now, I don't want to Zeus and wipe the board just yet because I do have some very valuable cards face down, and I think I am pretty confident in that I am confident that I can use them before I need to wipe the board here. So they imperm to, you know, negate my imperm, but the droplet manages to dodge that, being in a different zone, so we can still use that in order to negate the Lil-La here. So at the very least, it's funny because I imagine this is going to happen a lot in mirror matches where, you know, both players have so much disruption that it's really just about who runs out of disruption slash who has the most ways to summon a live twin, right? At least that's the case with this matchup here. And our opponent top decks, or maybe I've already had in hand, I don't even know, a secret password. They use the droplet with it. Very nice chain on the opponent's part. Basically using the droplet for free in order to stop the Zeus from being an out to the Sunny Snitch slash live twin that it searches here. But, you know, we do still have the Infinite Impermanence face down, so I'm not particularly concerned considering they couldn't stop the droplet last turn. So we'll just imperm this Lil-La here, no big deal. And they just have to pass, so very nice. We still have all 4 materials on our Zeus, and now we've utilized all other cards on our field. Yeah, I summoned the Lil-La here, totally spacing on the fact that the summon from deck only works if you don't control any other monsters, but whatever, we'll still just poke for 500. I really should have kept it in hand, but it's not that huge of a deal. But yeah, throughout all of that, we managed to keep all 4 materials on our Zeus, and then used up all the cards on our board before we even had to do that. And you'll see here, we don't even end up having to use Zeus's effect even once. It was just a 3k, you know, beat stick body for us. So, yeah, I liked that game because it kind of showed off like how a kind of control versus control matchup goes, and it also shows off a good application for the little Xyz package that we play. There are multiple different packages you could potentially play with those extra deck slots, but I like the Xyz package quite a bit because Zeus, I feel like any deck that can make Zeus and can have the space to put it in should probably be playing Zeus, and I feel like this game is a pretty good example of that. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next game. So this deck is, or this game is going to be against a deck that I affectionately like to refer to as a punk pile, which I guess I could actually cover on the channel. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've got just about every card for it, except I know a lot of them, like this one plays in Nemesis Corridor with Thunder Dragon Colossus. I don't have a Thunder Dragon Colossus, but when I say punk pile, I basically just mean like it's all just like staples, like the adventure engine, sometimes a DPE engine, then just like punk cards with like a Hulk or Rorodon. I don't know, it's just playing a bunch of good cards, basically. 40 good cards, that deck. But anyway, here we will go for the Lil-La. Opponent's got the Veiler, and we don't have, I have not been drawing our call-bys or crossouts very much in my testing here, but that's alright because we have the Ki-Sikil Frost that we, actually, did we search that? I wasn't even really paying attention there. I should have been. Or did we search the... Yeah, we searched the Ki-Sikil Frost because we already had the Lil-La and a Ki-Sikil in hand. So it's nice to be able to grab the Frost, or if you've got a Ki-Sikil, the Lil-La treat for backup options if the opponent's got, you know, disruption of their own. And we were even able to play through their Imperm when they tried to disrupt us that way here too, as we're able to secure the Lil-La on the board. That's going to let us get the Ki-Sikil back, and then now we can draw a card and then go into our Trouble Sunny. So another cool aspect of this deck is just how resilient it is to play through disruptions itself, right? Not only can it deal out a lot of disruptions, but it can play through them all. It does depend on the hand from time to time, but we have enough combo pieces that it's often enough to just use what's in hand to play through the opponent's disruption. Now, here is a good example of why I like running Ghost Belle and why running 2 in this deck might not even be a bad idea, or any deck that could afford the space for it, as we're able to stop the Water Enchantress there. The opponent does still have the Fateful Adventure, but I'm not really concerned about that right now, especially if it's just adding a Draco back. So, yeah, so here I will use the Frost to draw a card, right? I'm gonna let the Zeamine resolve here. I'm still looking for a good time to jump into the Trouble Sunny. I'll use the Maxx against the Foxy Tune here first, and sure enough, we beat the final card, which is a Crossout Designator. So now I know they don't really have many other plays at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the Trouble Sunny, my next earliest convenience, to stop their plays, which is just going to be when they summon this next Zeamine. I'm not even going to let them get the Hulk out here, honestly. I could have actually let them, that might have even been better. That way, if they get the Hulk out, they can't like use it again if they manage to live through my turn and then top deck into a play that lets them go into Hulk, but it's ultimately not going to matter, but I probably should have let them actually summon it first. But in any case, I'll blow up one of the Zeamines. I should have blown up the attack mode one. I actually had no idea about the the attack gain effect, but it's really not that big of a deal because we can just bring the Ki-Sikil back with the Lil-La anyway, so we won't get another draw, but that's not really going to ultimately matter here. Now, OTKing with this deck, or rather following up by finishing the opponent off on like the turn 3, can actually be pretty easy because of Trouble Sunny. Because what you can end up doing is you can end up sending, or you can end up making a Trouble Sunny, and then during the battle phase, battling with Trouble Sunny, and then splitting it apart back into the twins. That's 5,500 damage by itself right there. So often just one other normal summon into another play on top of that is enough to get the game. But I don't know exactly how, or you know, where Lethal was just yet, but I'm sure we'd have been able to find it pretty easily. And in any case, it was enough for the opponent to concede in that scenario. So, all right, we've got one more game to take a look at. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it here. All right, this last game we're going to watch here is going to be against Sky Striker. Good old Sky Striker. I call every deck good old that deck. I do like Sky Striker, though. I may come back to it sometime soon if I end up having the time. I don't even know, though, with, once again, all these different decks to cover. Not that I mind at all. I am so glad, because I think I, can speak for a lot of us where towards the end of that last season, Season 6, right, the game was starting to feel a bit stale. I kind of saw it in my, viewer and subscriber numbers, too. I kind of had a moment of, like, oh, am I doing something wrong here? But then I kind of realized, like, no, I think everyone's just a little bit burned out on the current meta, as I was at the moment. But as I was getting to at the moment, I wasn't totally burned out. Like, obviously, we were still enjoying playing Sword Soul Tendy, which I should actually go back to sometime this season, just to show you how Sword Soul Tendy can still stack up pretty decently. But it's funny, ever since the new pack came out, have not seen a single Sword Soul Tendy deck. I've seen Adventure Tendies, which do play a couple of Sword Soul cards, but no full-on Adventure Tendies. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this game off because our opponent has There Can Only Be One, which you might see this card and think, man, I talked right through that whole play. I'm a little bit upset that I did, but our opponent's got There Can Only Be One, which, you might see this and be like, oh my god, how does this deck even out that at all, right? Like, you have to have two twins on the board and they're both fiends, so how does that work? Well, as you saw with our plays here, even though opponent had There Can Only Be One, we were still able to summon the Lil-La Treat, because the Lil-La Treat is actually a zombie, not a Cyberse like the other live twins. And then similarly, the Frost is an Aqua, so we were then able to go into Centaurea, because Centaurea is a Beast Warrior, still different types here, right? Then from there, we were able to go into Downerd, who is a spellcaster, and then Zeus, who is a machine. Just another, I mean, this is admittedly very minor, but another good reason to have the Zeus, line is in case you get stopped by something like There Can Only Be One, or maybe if there's a card that would have stopped us from, like, Link summoning specifically. I don't know what that would be off the top of my head, but, if such a card was played, you could still go into a line like this here. So I thought it was Eldritch actually, because they played There Can Only Be One, but then the opponent reveals that they're Sky Striker, which, actually does kind of make sense with There Can Only Be One, given how the deck typically operates. We're going to try to Maxx here, but the opponent's got Nash Blossom. At this point, I'm still like, well, alright, I've got the Zeus. I do actually wish I would have set the Crossout Designator now, but because I had Zeus out, that's why I chose not to set it here. I did still set the Imperm, because I really wasn't sure what my opponent was playing. Because, again, I thought it was Eldritch, and I thought there was a chance this might be like a skill drain or something, so I figured, like, okay, if I end up in a scenario where my opponent's got a monster I can negate out, at the very least I might be able to Imperm and stop whatever this is, but this actually ends up being an Imperm itself. I'm going to go ahead and respond here. Our opponent's going to use the Widow Anchor, predictably, which is going to let them steal my Zeus. But I'll go ahead and activate again here. I know they're going to be able to get their Ray back because of this, but all the same, you know, I think it's still the right play to make in this scenario. Now, things do look a little bit desperate here, but we're definitely not out of the game just yet. We do still have a Sunny Snitch and a Crossout Designator in our hands, so we still have the option during our next turn to make a play and then back it up as well. So, again, you know, I think a lot of people might have conceded at this point in the game, and just, again, being in Diamond 1 especially, conceded at this stage in the game and been like, let's just move on to the next one. But, you know, again, I'm always interested in, like, well, okay, yeah, we're in a difficult scenario, but, like, can we actually play out of it? And I mean, this one is definitely, you can, I don't necessarily want to say easily, but I don't think it would be too difficult to play out of a scenario like this, given that we, again, already have the option to go into a live play here. So the opponent is going to go into for Anaconda and make a DPE here, so that is going to be a little bit scary in that regard, but we definitely still have our outs, such as Droplet, such as Imperm, potentially called by if they choose to use the DP, and then we do get it out. We get an Imperm. So, yeah, this is like why I always, because how much more satisfying is this than just scooping and then trying to move on to the next game, right? Again, I'm speaking more towards Diamond 1 people, because it can be, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to get games for a video, like, and it varies so wildly too, because people will concede so easily. Like, sometimes it'll take me maybe an hour and a half to get the 4 or 5 games I need for one of these videos, and then sometimes it'll seriously take me like 4+ hours. Like, I'm not even exaggerating with that. It's, I don't know, it's, a little bit frustrating sometimes, but at the end of the day, you know, we do still enjoy making the content to show you all these meta decks and show you examples of good gameplay with them. So yeah, the opponent concedes as I go to go into my you know, Evil Twin, Trouble Sunny plays. They realize that they're not going to be able to come back at this point, as I'm going to be able to easily address their board, and they won't have anything left, even if I don't get game that turn specifically. So alright, that is going to do it for the gameplay now. Let's go ahead and move over to the outro. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for watching, especially all the way to the very end of the video like this. I do very much appreciate that. That is, as it means a lot to me personally, and it's also a good way to support the channel. Also very appreciative to those who are commenting and subscribing. Comments, as always, I'm looking for feedback on the build, on the gameplay, on suggestions for the kinds of videos you want to see, anything you want to offer feedback on. I am more than happy to take that in, as I love getting your guys' constructive criticism. I find it very helpful, not only as a content creator, but as a you know, just a player myself. And yeah, subscribing is also a great way to get notified of when my videos come out, which does happen every single day. For those who subscribe, you do get a daily Master Duel video out of me, and we are still in the midst of a whole slew of new decks onto the channel that I am showing off this week, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for those. And we'll try to work a viewer special in here sometime soon. It's been a little bit, I think, a little bit over a week at this point since we've had one. But yeah, we just have so many decks to show off with the new pack. But don't worry, we will definitely return to that series in the near future as well. So that's all I got for you for today. Without further ado, this is XLex signing off. Hope you guys have a fantastic day.